Mavs Fans for Life podcast. I'm Landon Thomas, joined by my co-host Shahnavaz Makhani. Shahnavaz, well, first of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and a big congratulations, Landon. Want to share the exciting news?
Appreciate that. I just proposed on New Year's, so I am engaged.
Woohoo!
So,
There you
yeah, I'm
go.
trying to be like Shahnavaz, you know, trying to get down, settle down.
Married life.
Married life, yes. I wish the Mavs could be saying Happy New Year. Dang, man, the Mavs. So that's what we're going to be talking about. The Mavs are on a 4-game losing streak. They lost the last 5 of 6. I mean, injuries, illnesses. My goodness, wherever you have, stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Don't go to the games. Just stay home.
Don't go to the games. Even Coach Kidd said this. He hasn't seen anything like this since COVID. It's been pretty bad, but the Mavs are still playing bad, regardless of injuries and illnesses, because this is one of the deepest teams, but they're 0-4 in the last game, like I said. And ironically, Najee comes back from a 4-game suspension. I mean, he's not the answer, but he's a big, big help to what the Mavs do, especially when there's injuries. And we know how he plays when there's injuries. He balls out. And then we'll talk about the first fan results for the All-Star game. So Shahnavaz, I mean, it seems like yesterday they were 20-11.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're 20-15. And before I even get your thoughts on this 4-game losing streak, and I'm just doing this on the fly, I'm pulling up the NBA standings, because 20-15, you're thinking, hey, I mean, they're still okay. I mean, they are. You got plenty of time. No need to panic. But, you know, a couple of days ago, they were 4th seed. Now they're sitting at 6th seed, and you got half a game up for, above the Clippers, who just got Kawhi back.
Yep.
He plays today. And then, you know, you're 1.5 game above the Spurs, who have been looking great, very competitive, and you know they're neck and neck with the Lakers and Nuggets. So, Shahnavaz, what is your thoughts on all the things going on with the Mavericks right now?
It's everything that could go wrong is going wrong. It's kind of like it's super unfortunate because that Phoenix game, you know, obviously the news comes out about Luka.
Yeah.
You know, you get Najee and PJ kind of sticking up for, you know, Daniel Gafford. And it kind of felt like a turning point, like, all right, this team collectively is going to bind together and, you know, kind of keep the momentum going that they have, because we've seen them win without Luka this year. I don't know how Najee gets suspended for, I guess because he made contact with Nurkic, but like, that really obvious. I mean, obviously it's hurting the Mavs, and we know what this team is without PJ Washington. They're just not the same team.
Yeah.
And so even with that 46-point performance against Portland, you know, this isn't the same Mavs team without PJ Washington. So, you know, you chalk that loss up. The Kings game, you're missing Kyrie. You know, we know what the Mavs record is without Kyrie and Luka in the lineup, right? They're just not a good team. You know, you lose to the Kings, who also, you know, again, a team that had just fired their coach, you know, brings in, you know, Doug Christie, you know, former Mav killer, you know, from the early 2000s, you know, in his first kind of coaching gig. So there's a lot of motivation there to play for, you know, if you're a Sacramento King. And then the Rockets game, Landon, the Mavs actually shot pretty well in that game. They shot over 50% from the field. They shot better from 3, about 39%, but they had 20 turnovers in that game. It's just, you know, that's just one of those games where they beat themselves.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that could have been done differently. And this is on, when you have a losing streak like this is on the players, this is on the coaching staff, this is on everybody. You know, they've got to figure out what to do. And it's unfortunate because it seems like this team has never been healthy. And I think you tweeted it out a couple days ago. You know, it's like, I don't remember the last time outside of the Dante Exum injury that this team has been fully healthy and had their full complement of players.
Yeah. And
it seems like every week there's something else that happens. This illness bug now that's going around now. Kyrie Irving is sick. And so he missed the Cleveland game.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Cleveland game, look, they're the best team in the NBA record-wise. The Mavs kept it close, you know, even after being down, you know, almost 20 or even over 20, you know, that 0-9, streak that they had at the end of the first quarter really put them in a hole. But to come back and only lose by 12. I mean, I take some solace in that fact, and I say, okay, at least this team fought to stay in it without Kyrie
Yeah.
and without Najee. But that's kind of one of those scheduled losses, right? Where three of your core rotation players are out. You kind of you take the L and you move on, but it doesn't get any easier from there. We talked about the gauntlet of January and what the schedule brings for this team. They're going to have to figure out how to right the ship sooner. They're going to have to figure out how to get people healthy. Getting Najee back against Memphis helps, but that's the second best team in the Western Conference. They're going to need Kyrie back. They're going to need PJ at full force, and pray to God over the next 2 days that there's not another injury or another illness bug that goes around.
Yeah, I agree. It sucks. It really does suck if you are part of that Mavericks organization. I mean, you have the expectations coming off the finals. The first 30 games, you've done your best. I mean, you've done really well. I think 19 and 11. Then they win 20. They're 20 and 11. So you're really gaining momentum off of the finals. Everybody's feeling good about where the team is going, and then Luka gets hurt. So that just throws a wrench in all the things you do with the Mavericks. And like you said, I mean, you just have to right the ship and stay afloat. I mean, obviously beat the bad teams, which they didn't do, and split the games with the teams above you, and they haven't done that yet. So it's going to be a tough time. Like you said, you're going to have to just get as healthy as you can, but that comes with risk too. You don't want players to get even more injured. So it's like there's still a long time to go in this season where you don't want to really push to get everyone healthy unless they're 100%. And that's the thing that sucks, because even PJ, like you mentioned, PJ, he was out, and then he comes right back in the Cavs game. And I'm thinking in that game, yeah, he started out good, but just the rest of that game, I was thinking, should he really be out there?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the best team in the league. Should he have rest since Kyrie's out? And then you go full force or try to get as many guys as you can since Najee's coming back against Grizzlies, because I just don't want to see – I don't want anyone to get injured. It seems like it's not even the Mavs, it's the whole NBA.
Yeah.
Every week there's someone have a bad injury.
I don't know what's going on. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to think, should PJ be playing in these games? Should Maxey be playing? Like, should all these players, if Kyrie's out, because Luka and Kyrie are your team. Every single player, yeah. Clay is a Hall of Famer. You got Lively, you got some bigs, you got PJ, you got good surrounding cast. But if Luka and Kyrie aren't playing, the cast is just the cast. Because with those two stars playing, or at least we talked about it, at least one of those stars playing, the Mavs are going to be competitive regardless. But if both stars aren't playing, you got to worry about health, especially when you're playing the best team.
Yeah, and we've seen it. We saw it against Portland, right? Even if you have one of them playing, if PJ's not playing, it's kind of a wash anyway, right?
Well, yeah, he's the glue.
Yeah, they just don't play well without PJ Washington.
Yeah, and that's what worries me about this team, is because right now is a crucial time. I already talked about the standings, and guess what? You play the teams that are around you, because the Mavericks played the Grizzlies, who, like you said, second best in the West. This is what I'm talking about. They play the Lakers, who are around them. Portland, who just beat them, have confidence. And then, like I said, Denver and Denver. You play those two teams. You played that team twice. So if you lose those games,
free fall.
Teams around you go higher and you go lower. So it's going to be harder to catch them up. And let's be honest here. If the team is healthy, and let's not overreact. It's a long season. Mavericks could go on a winning streak when they get players back. But at the same time, you don't want to go too far in the standings, because, like I said, the Spurs are doing really well, and Kawhi's coming back, so that's going to give the Clippers energy.
Yeah, and the Lakers just got Dorian Finney-Smith. So
yep.
they made a good addition to their team. I agree with you. I don't think it's time for overreaction. It is concerning. It's
Yes.
100% concerning, but it's
Yes.
this, I don't think it's time to start talking about, trading or firing people. That's always
Oh no.
a whole conversation but look, this is on everybody, right? There's
Yes.
blame to go around. We understand that's it's a team sport. Everyone's to blame. It's not just one single person or one single player. The Mavs just have to figure out how to get healthy and right the ship. I mean, we've seen them win without Luka before.
Yes.
So this isn't something where it's the first time it's happened this year, and you're scrambling to figure out, well, how do we do this? What are our rotations? Who's playing well, who's not? I think the Mavericks have a good sense of that. It's just hard when, okay, PJ's out 1 game. Now Najee's out 4 games. Now Kyrie's out 2 games. Can we get just a 2 or 3 game stretch where everyone outside of Luka and Dante Exum are healthy and available, where we can actually have the rotations that we want and actually play the game that we want to, the way that we want to play? I think when that happens, you'll see a different Mavericks team, because that's going to show you the same. You're going to have the same lineup, the same roster that you did when Luka was out before, and that team was successful. So, it is concerning right now. To your point, we don't need to overreact to anything because it's a long season. This is the Mavs won a 4-game losing streak earlier in the year, and look what happened. They completely came back from that. So it's not that the Mavericks can't, but they've got a really, really brutal schedule here the next couple of weeks where they've got to pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it really boils down to each player playing 10% better. I mean, you're getting that with Grimes. He's really stepped up. Clay has found a rhythm shooting, but you really want to see more from Lively. You want to see more from Gafford. You want to see more from Dinwiddie. You want to see more from PJ. He started really hot, but then after the rest of the game, he kind of fizzled out. So you want to see Najee come back and straight up hoop, because he's going to come back with a vengeance. Just hooping, like, because he missed 4 games, so he wants to show people, hey, now I'm back and I'm gonna help this team win. But in that 4-game stretch, and I thought it was defense, but it's really been everything, because in that 4-game stretch, the Mavericks had the 19th best defense, and then when you look at offense, they ranked 24th. So I mean, yes, a 4-game stretch, not a big sample size, but that's just bad. And we talked about how deep this team is all season long, but you're starting to realize it's a very deep team when they have at least one of their stars.
Yes.
But if they're both out, it's just a lot of guys trying to get shots up.
Yeah, they're built on their 2 stars, and then they've put the right role players around Luka and Kyrie, but that's exactly what they are, is they're role players. So when Luka and Kyrie are out, you're bringing in players that quite often have not started in their NBA careers outside of Klay Thompson. Guys like Spencer
Grimes
Dinwiddie
started a little bit.
Grimes started a little bit. Dinwiddie did, here and there, right? I'm talking, but majority of the career they've been role players. They've never been the guys to carry the load, and so now you're asking them to do that, and we're seeing the struggles from Spencer again, right? The same struggles we saw earlier in the year when he was asked to do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
So, you make a really good point that this team is built right, but when you're missing both of your superstars, it's really hard to kind of figure out what to do. And I would say that about any NBA team, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would say that if you took, look what happened with Philly when the Sixers are missing Embiid and Maxey, or Embiid and George, or any combination of those 2 guys, they're completely awful. But when you put all 3 of them together, then you see some competent basketball. So I would say that again, any team, I think it's an encouraging sign that the most points they scored over the last 4-game stretch was against Cleveland, who has a top 5 offense and defense. So that's without Kyrie, that's without Najee. I would put a little bit of, momentum towards that, but I don't know, man. It's the Mavs just have to get over this injury bug and figure out how to kind of how to overcome this. I mean, this isn't going to be an easy stretch, and I would take some encouraging signs from last night, but I also look back to the Portland game, even with PJ out. I'm like, if Kyrie scores 46, like that should be an easy win, for the Mavs, even without PJ. So it's definitely concerning. It's going to be interesting to see with Najee back how this Memphis game goes. And to your point, you've kind of got a bunch of guys in slumps at the wrong time, and it's all, Daniel Gafford's having one of the worst stretches I've seen from him in the Mavs uniform the last few games. Derek Lively's reverted back to, jumping every single time somebody pump fakes and getting foul calls, and then you have to play Gafford more. You have to play Maxey more. So, I think there's added pressure on everybody, and that kind of takes away from the mental understanding of, hey, this is what I have to do. This is what my role is. And I think everyone's trying to overcompensate for Luka being out, Kyrie being out, Najee out, PJ out. There's more responsibility on everyone. And I think once things kind of start calming down, I think you'll see that subside. And I think you'll see everyone start playing a little bit better, hopefully.
Yeah.
Once they get back into kind of what their particular role is.
Yeah, and I do my stretch of games, my 8 chapters. This chapter's already 1 and 4, and you want at least 6 games in each chapter. So unless they go on a 5-game win streak, they didn't reach that. So that brings the pace of wins down a lot, because like it's a gauntlet. The remaining 5 games. I mean, Grizzlies, Lakers, Blazers, Nuggets. I mean, what would you like to see from the Mavericks in those 5 games? Obviously, you mentioned it with health, but outside of health, is there anything particular in the games that you would like to see? Because those are tough teams. I mean, even the Blazers. It's just brutal.
Yeah, because the Blazers, we've seen it. For some reason, they play the Mavs really well.
Yeah,
it's kind
of hit and miss. They will look horrible against a lottery team, which they are one, and then they'll play really great against a good team.
And then Anthony Simons can't miss. What was that game a couple months ago? It was like insane. I mean, they have to go 3-2 in this 5-game stretch. Like, I think that's the only thing that makes sense. You've got to beat the Blazers. I think that's a given. You've got to split with the Nuggets, and I think you can take care of business with the Lakers. I would. Just the way that Memphis is playing, my thought is that's a loss. But when you're missing Luka, but who knows? If Kai is back, if he's recovered from this illness, Najee's back, PJ's back, who knows, right? The Mavericks could beat. We've seen them beat Memphis before, right? We've seen them beat them earlier this year.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The Mavericks do have the Grizzlies number, no matter what.
They do. Yeah, and it would not shock me if Dallas wins that game. But in my mind, your winnable games are the Lakers, split against the Nuggets, and Portland. Those are the 3 games you've got to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It's gonna be tough, but it's doable if Kyrie is playing, and that's a lot of pressure on Kyrie. But he can handle it. He can handle anything, but it's still a lot of pressure because you're asking him to not only do his role but also Luka's role too.
Yeah. And one other thing that I'm excited about, Landon, and I wanted to tweet this out earlier, but I think I fell asleep after the game. With all these injuries, we talk about players stepping up, taking, getting their opportunities. Look at what Brandon Williams is doing. Yeah. I am really, really liking what Brandon Williams is doing. I mean, that game last night, the aggressiveness he showed, some of the shots he was taking, the decision making. When Jaden Hardy struggles, I think the Mavericks, obviously you have Jason Gortman as well, but Brandon Williams is making a case to stay on this roster. I mean, he has played really, really well. In just watching him play, he looks like he belongs in the NBA.
Yeah, you notice how Brandon Williams shines in meaningful minutes, and then Hardy gets 17. I mean, there's some little competition there because honestly, it's really about opportunities in this league. I mean, because when you think about it, Brandon Williams, he could really just fit in just like Hardy does. I mean,
exactly.
You said Gortman too. I mean, he could do the same thing. I mean, the NBA is all about opportunity, and I feel like if Williams or Gortman had the same opportunity as Jaden Hardy, I don't think it's bad to say you would probably get the same results.
Yeah, maybe even better. I mean, we've seen Hardy struggle too. Some of the. I know he put up 17 last night, but man, some of the shot selection and decision making, his passing is still
Yeah.
questionable. I mean, I still, every time he's got the ball and, he's trying to go ISO, I'm just like, what are you doing, man? Come on. And I don't know if that's a called play from Jason Kidd. I don't know if that's just Jaden Hardy kind of trying to take over, but sometimes the decision making from Hardy is still, I'm still a little iffy on. So, I know there's been rumors of Jaden Hardy being moved for certain players. I know we don't like to get into that, but
No.
if you've got guys like Gortman and Brandon Williams, does that ease the question of can Jaden Hardy be moved? I mean, that's something to think about as they get more opportunities.
Well, yeah, and there's one thing, Hardy is, 3 years younger than Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough. It's tough with the NBA because he is getting back from, being out, but he does have to get better. I mean, that's just part of the NBA because if you don't, someone else is going to take your spot. And I think I agree with you. I think, his passing, you saw a glimpse of it in preseason in like maybe the first couple of games, but then it just reverted back to last season. It's just you're showing where you're passing, and then half the time you're passing late. Like
Yeah.
you leave off your feet, or you gotta. It's just simple things too. Like his role should be defined in the NBA. Like he should be just a spot up shooter. Like that should be just his role. Like when you see guys like what's his name from the Celtics, Hazard.
Yeah, Sam
Y-
Hauser.
Yeah, Hazard. Like that should be Hardy's role. Like when you see how well he does shoot when he
Yeah. That
has
dude
space and
that dude can
has
give you
time.
15 any night, just stands in the corner and knocks down threes.
And that's what Hardy should do. But when you watch these games, the ball's in his hand a lot, and it should not be because he's not a very a good dribbler,
Yeah.
and he's not a very good passer, but he's a shooter. Like he can get hot. Like sometimes he looks like Jason Terry out there,
Yeah.
and that's why I think that's a little bit of coaching too, because they're trying to develop his game, which I understand, but sometimes the NBA you just should shine at what you do best, and I think he's a shooter.
Yeah, and I think circumstances are preventing that. When
Oh yeah,
you're missing
that's a
Kyrie,
good point.
you've got to have ball handlers. Like, I know
Yeah,
Grimes is technically a guard, but he doesn't handle the ball the way Dinwiddie and Hardy and Brandon Williams do. So you're kind of shorthanded at this point.
that's true.
Missing Exum during this time is so critical because if Dante
Yes,
Exum was healthy, I don't think you'd see the Mavs in a 4-game losing streak because you'd have another ball handler, another defender, another guy who can play meaningful minutes, even if Kyrie's sick. Again, it's just this team is being hit so hard by the injury bug and the illness bug that it's all at the wrong time, right?
yeah,
The suspensions happen at the wrong time. It's just it's kind of a perfect storm of bad things happening. So the Jaden Hardy, with him having the ball in his hands, I think that's just a matter of necessity at this point because you don't really
yeah.
have a
That's
choice.
true.
So
I
I think
agree. Yeah,
that's why you're starting to see Brandon Williams play more because
yeah,
I feel like the coaching staff has understanding like we can't keep the ball in his hands. Like he needs to just shoot.
yeah.
Let Brandon handle the ball when Spencer's not there. He can kick it out to Jaden. Jaden will have the ball a little bit, but Brandon Williams, has been, like you said, 3 years older. He's been in the league a little bit longer. He kind of understands, what to do, and he's playing well. I mean, I've
Experience.
his experience. I've liked what I've seen. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see, when Kai and Najee come back on Monday and what this looks like.
Well, like you said, yeah, he it's kind of out of necessity, but you would like to see players put in positions what they do best. But like you said, when you have Luka and Kyrie out, that's a lot of ball handling. So you got to have other guys, start initiate the offense. But I like what you said about Brandon Williams. Like I know Hardy got the extension. He's the paid guy, but 25 is still young in the league. So I mean, you kind of want to see what you got before you just say, all right, you're 2 A's up, go on to the next team. Like
Yeah.
you kind of want to see what you got because I know Hardy's back, so you can't really say Hardy, you don't play at all, and Brandon, you get 17 minutes a game. But at the same time, I would like to see before Exum comes back because then you're not going to see Brandon at all. I
Right.
mean, even Hardy. So I mean, I would like to see Williams another game. See what he does against the Grizzlies. Give him 15 minutes in meaningful minutes and see what he does. And if he has another great game like that, I mean,
it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. And you, like Kid always says, I mean, you got to be unselfish and you got to wait for your opportunity, because even Grimes said it at post game. He said, the challenge is you have to be ready for your opportunity. You are always going to get an opportunity in the NBA. Injury, illness, trades. Like you have to be ready when your name is called. And you said it best. What Williams was ready, so you have to reward him and give him another game to see what he got.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Shahnavaz, last word, final word of the pod. All-Star voting. So you have the All-Star voting for the first fan results?
Yep, I've got the first fan results for the All-Star voting. Next update's going to be on my birthday, which will be Thursday.
Happy early birthday.
FYI for all those out there, I'd really like just a nice birthday wish on Twitter. Just kidding. Yeah, so first ballot came out. You want to go, top 5 in each?
Let's do Western Conference.
West,
top 5.
Western Conference front court, number 5, we've got Wemby.
Of course. Wait, he's number 1?
He's number 5.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he's number 5. We've got Anthony Davis, LeBron at number 3, KD, and Jokic. Not really a surprise there.
But LeBron, number 3? You're not surprised?
It's popularity. At that point, I don't know if...
I'm saying you're not surprised he's number 1. He's not number 1. Or no, because Jokic has been...
and Jokic is about 300,000 votes ahead. I will say the difference between Wemby and 6th place is like 600,000 votes. So I think you can pretty much lock up those top 5.
Yeah.
Just move them around.
They'll all be all-stars anyways.
Yeah. And then for the guards, at number 5, you've got Ant.
Okay.
Number 4, Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Getting his flowers. Number 3, Steph Curry, who is 300,000 votes ahead of Kyrie. So, a lot of room to make up there. Number 2 is our dear friend, Mr. Luka Doncic. Even with, I know the injury just happened, but, being number 2 in All-Star voting. And the number 1, of course, is SGA with over 1 million votes.
Wait, what's the difference between Luka and SGA? Just curious.
About 200,000, 150,000. Really? Yeah, so it's a pretty sizable difference. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And now with Luka out, I mean, I think the hope is not the. I mean, there's a very little chance that Luka makes the All-Star game now. I think as more votes come in, but hopefully those people that voted for Luka start shuffling their vote to Kyrie, because that'd be really cool to see Kyrie, get his dues and make the All-Star game. Yeah, 100% deserves it.
Wow. Okay. You know what that tells me? That tells me is, like you said, Kyrie's getting his flowers, because I think last year he was probably like 7th or something like that. He deserves it. He's been playing phenomenal this season. He almost has a 50-40-90 again. But what stands out to me with that, the front court, that's predictable. The guards is really Anthony Edwards. Like, he really misses Karl Anthony Towns, because the NBA pushed him hard. Like, they want him to be the next face of the league.
Yep. Yeah.
And he really hasn't been this season. He really hasn't. And he misses cat spacing.
And he's only 100,000 votes ahead of James Harden. So, that's not a lot of ground to make up there. I mean, you're not talking, and I, behind him, I mean, De'Aaron Fox and Devin Booker. So with Phoenix reeling, I don't see Booker, making it in, but I'm surprised is that low too. I mean, I think Memphis is still flying under the radar, to be honest. I don't think many people realize that they're second in the West, and you just haven't heard anything from them. But, I think as the season goes on, and as, now, you're getting into January, football is going to end soon. People are going to start paying more attention to basketball. I think you're going to start to see, a lot of these folks start changing on this All-Star ladder.
Yeah. Okay. What's the top 5 in the East for both?
Top 5 in the East, for the front court, number 5 is Jaylen Brown. Number 4 is Paolo. 3 is Kat. 2 is Jason Tatum. And 1, of course, is Giannis. And then for the guards, this is actually surprising when I saw this. Number 5 is Trae Young. Number 4 is Jalen Brunson. Number 3 is Dame.
Okay.
Who's only about 15,000 votes behind the number 2 spot in Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Who is about 250,000 votes behind the number one vote getter in the Eastern Conference at guard, Mr. LaMelo Ball.
Oh, number 1?
Number
You said
one
200,000 above
above
Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell.
All the kids are voting. Oh,
Yep.
everyone, they love LaMelo, man. He flashy.
I saw that and I was like, what? That's the
I
first
mean,
time
he's
I've
balling out. He's balling out, but I would
first time
think fifth. I would think fourth at the
yeah.
best.
I mean, people like Tyrese Maxey is seventh.
Wow.
Jordan Poole is
Seventh.
eighth. Yeah,
Jordan
Tyler
Poole.
Hero
Jordan Poole's
ninth.
been balling.
Tyrese Maxey is seventh. I mean, that's just
Wow. Okay.
it's surprising. I mean,
Charlotte.
yeah,
Okay, Charlotte, stand up.
yeah. I mean, good for
Wow.
that. And you know what? It's also I think it's also the way they classify players, Landon, because you've got Jaylen Brown in the front court for the Eastern Conference. You've
He's
got
not. Yeah, he's not.
Jimmy Butler in the front court, Paul George in the front court. So I think that's also a part of it.
What do you think it should be? Do you think it should be just no classification? Just vote.
No, just take
all
just take the
stars.
players. There's no lineups in the NBA anyway. There's no positions
Yeah.
anymore. Everyone plays whatever. Just
Because
take
Brown
the five
is
highest,
not a front court player. He's a shooting guard.
yeah. Take the five highest vote getters, put them on a team, and see what happens.
Yeah. Just because they have White and Holiday doesn't mean Brown's not a shooting guard. I mean,
Yeah.
he's still a guard.
Yeah, they weren't. It's a 3-guard lineup, and then even Tatum's not a power forward; he's a small forward. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Wow. Interesting. LaMelo. Okay. I mean, he's been hooping, but wow, number one by that many. Okay. Well, it's the first one.
First one.
First one. We'll see
We'll
on
see.
your birthday.
We'll see
where
on
everyone's
January.
out.
Yeah, we'll see on Thursday what comes out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everyone vote for Kyrie.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get him back in the All-Star game. Mavs have to have at least one representative. With Luka going out, I mean, it's going to be hard to even make, because when the coaches and the extra votes come in, he's not going to be on there. So this season is a wash, and that's why I think he's going to be more comfortable when he gets back. I think he's going to be at ease. He's not trying to get MVP. He's not trying to get All NBA. He's just trying to get wins, and I think that's going to be very crucial. But they're going to have to at least split the games to stay afloat. So we'll see how they do. We got a big schedule coming up. You and the Mavs. It's a big week ahead, but we appreciate y'all tuning in. You'll see our usernames. Just make sure y'all follow us on social media, like and subscribe. We appreciate it every single week, and we hope y'all had a happy New Year, day, and we hope y'all have a great 2025. Thanks for tuning in.